Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. If you follow basketball, you know Chilltown Hoops.
So this is really good right here.
I don't know why that intro's on here. Probably, I'm
Well,
trying to do this shit on my own. But if you guys want to go watch that show too, it's also a good show. This is Casie Unhinged, but we're on Chi-Town Hoops right now. So, anyways, oh, I thought he would go fix that. Yeah, weird. Okay. This may be an issue on Facebook's end. All right. Anyway, I don't know if this is the right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Are there people watching right now? There's one person. Oh, someone's tuning in, so we'll see. Anyways, welcome to Casie Unhinged. I don't know what I'm doing, and this is not Chi-Town Hoops. So, we are Casie Unhinged, and it's called Casie Unhinged because everyone's got to be a little unhinged, and life is boring when you're not a little bit unhinged. And so this week we have Sonia and Dante on. Sonia's in Minnesota this week, and Dante is Sonia's son, and he's joining us today because for a lot of reasons, but he's like family to me at this point with Sonia, but he's also freaking hilarious. And yeah, so we're introducing Dante in a lot of ways. We have a lot of different roundabout things that we're doing today, but show us your hat first of all.
All right. So it says Captain Country.
And where did you get this hat?
So I went to a wild game and I got pretty tuned up. I like to drink when I'm at these events. And I started dancing. I was in section 118. So if you guys ever go, 118 is a hot spot. And
wild game.
Yeah, at the XL in St. Paul. The camera guy was right in front of me. So I just started getting after it. And he put me on there, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And they ended up announcing me as captain of the game and then sent me this cool hat to let everybody know that this is my country.
But so that was one game they gave you that within one game, or you went down a second time?
I want to say it was the second game of the. So I've been to 5 so far this year. That was the second game that I've been to this year.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. Sorry about that interruption. We are now Casie Unhinged.
Okay. I see it.
Actually, surprise. We're
right there.
Surprise. We're Minnesota Town Hoops, and us 3 are gonna go play a basketball game really quick on the show. Live. Okay, so sorry, we were interrupted by my theme to the Casie Unhinged. And okay, so you went to how many games? 5 total this year?
5 this year. The most recent was yesterday.
Okay, so let's talk about why you were awarded this hat.
Because they had like a dance camp, and they would go to all these different people, but they kept coming back to me because my dance moves are just, they're unmatched.
Yeah, we have some streaming.
How could I not be?
Oh, look at those moves.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have one more. Here it is.
Yeah. I did not award that guy.
That's amazing. So now you're the fan favorite, and you get to wear that hat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to understand what the hat's supposed to mean, though.
Well, because it was captain of the game, so it was sponsored by Captain Morgan.
Okay.
That feature. So this was just like the hat that they were going to give out to whoever became captain of the game that day. And it happened to be me.
Of course.
Oh, he's dancing his way to life, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, they announced it, and my whole section was like, "What'd they say?" I was like, "I have no idea." So
yeah,
walk around, to the promo booth, and that was probably 10 sections the other way. So as I'm walking through, it's like, oh, that's the guy. Like handshakes, high fives, just constant people recognizing me.
There he is.
Yeah, and so that was.
Wasn't it hard for you to leave?
It probably took us like 45 minutes to get out of the building between getting the information for sending them my information to get this hat sent to me, and then all the people like wanting to high five me and shake my hand and whatnot.
Little celebrity.
Yeah.
Well, if it's one thing I know about you is that you don't have a shy time being the center of attention and being some entertainment. I wanted to show you guys one of my favorite pictures of Dante. This literally came up on my Time Hop. I don't know if you guys know the Time Hop app, but it just like it is connected to all your pictures and your Facebook and all your shit. And over COVID, this was during COVID time when I would stay in Sonia's spare room, like when we would go down and like drink wine in the barn because we had nothing else to do, and like there was like a shrine of like Dante photos around the room that I was staying in, and this little gem was on there. And we'll get into like how Dante and I know each other, like whatever with training and all that stuff, but I was like, oh, I'm definitely saving this one for later. And it just popped up the other day, like after we had already talked about like maybe you coming on the show. And then I was like, okay, I'm definitely like putting this on there, and he doesn't know about it. So yeah, 5 years ago, I took that picture in the spare room, and I think you just had a bunch of other like random stuff in there too.
For sure. I have a lyrical one in there. It was like me and a bunch of girls for the last like that 5 year span.
11 girls and Dante.
Yeah, so
He went to national.
Actually, like I should have pulled up my last dance picture that I saw. It was like red, like dance suit with like white giant polka dots everywhere, but the skirt was literally just like a thing that just like peeled out from my waistline, and there was like no actual skirt to it, and then it was just like tights and underwear, and there was like what'd you say? Yeah, it just literally looked like a belt, but it was supposed to be like a big tutu, and I'm like, and maybe it was because I was like sort of a tall, lanky kid when I was like 6 years old, but I'm like, there was no skirt. It was just like legs and underwear underneath the tights that were there. But and then I had like a bowl cut that my mom gave me, and there was like one boy in our class also, and they had him, like they always had the boys obviously in a different outfit, but he had like a sailor hat on with like a matching red polka dot shirt and then some like random pants and stuff. But there was always like one random boy. But I'm like, my mom put me in dance when I was younger because she's like, I really want you to learn how to be coordinated and like how to whatever, which I mean, like for me, I feel like was good because I was a gymnast and I was a dancer. Like I was not a dancer, but I was in dance because my mom wanted me to be coordinated. And then I got to the point where I was like, I do remember wearing a size like women's 10 or something like dance shoe. And I was like, they don't go really much bigger than this. In women's dance shoes, because there's no like Amazon dancers like out there doing tap dancing and like ballet and stuff.
Hold on. This could be a new thing.
I know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I actually love gymnastics so much. I like thought I was gonna be a gymnast, and I just like was a big kid, and so my mom was like, "Hey, if you quit gymnastics, I'll buy you basketball shorts and basketball shoes." And I was like, I didn't even like basketball. I didn't want to play basketball. I just thought it was cool that she was like going to buy me something. So I was like, okay. And then I quit gymnastics and dance and just started playing basketball, and I like sucked at it. But I was like, I had some and one shorts and some cool remember and one?
You're balling. You just didn't know it yet.
And one used to be cool, but I'm pretty sure then they like got to the point where they were just like selling at Walmart, and I was like, what happened?
Yes.
What happened to Anne?
You remember the Shaq shoes? You remember the Shaq shoes?
Yeah.
Shaq came out with his brand, same thing. They were like,
those are Walmart?
I mean, at one point, I don't even know if they're sold anywhere anymore, but that's exactly how that went. They were like hot for a month, and then everybody's like, I'm going to stick with Nike, Adidas, etc.
Yeah. And then like suddenly they were like selling them at Walmart to just get rid of them.
It was the M1 mixtapes that made them hot, and then they stopped doing that because
who was like the guy that did the N1, like wasn't it like the basketball player that was like the N1 guy, like he was always on the commercials and like the main like they probably sponsor. They like probably paid the guy a lot of money through And One, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember who it was.
A specific player came up with that?
Oh,
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Who was that? I had a pair of T Max. Do you remember T Max?
Yeah.
They were Adidas. Yeah, those.
Yeah. Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved those shoes. I had a couple different pairs, and one of my high school jobs was working at Champs in the Burnsville Mall in Minnesota. And all I did was buy shoes. Like I made no money, and I just bought like the throwback Nike Cortez and like the T Mac shoes, and then like my senior high school shoes were like the Dadas. Do you remember the Dadas?
Nah.
No, they used to sell them on East Bay, where you could get like cool team shoes. So yeah, we had the Dadas for if people remember
That's
that.
where I customized my first baseball glove, all red with my name on it.
Your glove?
Yeah.
Shoes.
Gloves, shoes, everything. East Bay was the shit back then.
All right, well let's get back on track to. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff together. I mean, we've been on vacations, whatever. I mean, Sonia and I know each other like 8 years now, so it's been like, I don't know. I mean, I don't even remember what point I finally met you. Probably not until like the show or something. But then I don't remember at what point you were living on the east. You were living on the East Coast though when Sonia and I. Were you in Minnesota when Sonia and I first met, or did you move there after?
No, I was living in Rhode Island at that time.
Okay, so you were living in Rhode Island, and then I don't remember at what point. What year did you move back?
I was only there for like 3 years, so let's see. I probably got out there 2017, came back 2016, probably came back 2019 because I was here before the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah, right before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but he was here visiting me and came to the gym and met you
Yeah.
the first time.
I know. I was like, there's no way I didn't meet him for like 3 years before.
Yeah, no, and so he came with me because he used to be in all the high school sports, and then he was skinny as a rail.
Kind of like that picture you just put from your timeout 5 years ago. The arms looked exactly the same.
Yeah. So the show you did was in 2022 or 2021.
2019.
No, because I didn't do a show right when I got here.
Yes, you did, because you did it the weekend after Grandma died. She died October 2019.
I should have looked when I just took that. I should have looked when I went and took that.
Before, because I still had like a year and a half of just kind of being wild. So
When did you graduate high school?
14.
So in 2015 is when you moved out to the East Coast. And
Yeah.
came back in
I finished a year at Rochester.
2018.
Okay. That checks out.
Okay, so you come back from Rhode Island. I mean, you can kind of talk about your experience with that, but at some point you decided like, I want to get in shape. Like you, like, tell us about like what you were going through when you were out there and like what made you want to like get into the gym.
Well, the whole reason of going out to the East Coast was like to try and, I guess, find my dad and like rekindle a relationship with him. That just never happened. Being in Rhode Island, I was pretty lost. Like there was probably a month period where I was actually homeless, sleeping next to a dumpster, and I would change in like the construction workers' porta potty. I had like a suitcase full of clothes that I would stuff under the dumpster, but I made it to work on time. Like I was still working and everything. I was just not putting my money.
What were you doing out there?
I was a server at Denny's actually. I was
You were what?
server at Denny's.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was slanging pancakes and eggs, and then sleeping on a brick. It was like a cement. It was like.
And why weren't you staying with your dad? Because he was just like, not. I mean,
Well, I wasn't even staying with him. I went and stayed with somebody that we knew that would let me stay there, and then she just started. It just got kind of ugly. She was requesting a bunch of money for me to like pretty much sleep on a cot. And I just, and maybe I probably should have paid it, but in my delusional, drugged out brain, I was just like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'd rather sleep outside. So I ended up just packing my stuff and I never went back there. But yeah, so then I met a girl, moved in with her. That turned into a whole mess of a situation in its own. And then, got really hooked on Xanax, which I've already kind of dabbled with it before I went to Rhode Island, but not to the extent where I was once I was there. But one thing about me is if there's anything that I'm going through, I always feel like I can just figure it out. So I don't even think my mom knew I was homeless until like I moved back. I don't. There's a lot of things that I just don't, because I don't want this pity party. Oh, feel bad for this guy.
So,
Like
so when you went out there to like see if you could find your dad and whatever, like, did you and Sonia have a conversation about that?
yeah, that was like kind of the emphasis because I was doing bad stuff while I was here, and she was confused. Like, how the hell do I get this kid to like do good or do right? So she was like, "Go find your dad, figure it out."
Well,
was that your idea? Was that her idea?
That was like a joint idea because I was up for it. I was like, "Yeah, get me the hell out of here. Maybe a change of scenery would be good for me anyway."
And you and him had been in communication at this point, or no?
Me and my dad.
Yeah.
No, not really. I reached out, I think, 2 or 3 times while I was out there, and I just really never, like, I would get responses, but it was never anything like,
you truly just went out there on a whim to be like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'll even find him. I don't know if he wants to know who I am. I'm just going to go out there and like see if we can have a relationship and try to figure out the other part of like maybe what's missing and why I feel like I'm being this way, you know, whatever.
That is.
Do you remember like processing in that moment, like if you felt like you were like losing it, or if you felt like you were lost, or like what did you feel?
I guess I knew like there was something missing. It was just a matter of like figuring out what was missing, and everything I used to like fulfill that void just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I would just keep doing that same process, like, oh, this isn't working, so let's try this. Oh, this isn't. There was never anything like solid or meaningful to my life that I was really like trying to get involved with. I was just very one directional, and I kept going this one direction and kept ending up with the same results.
Right.
And just went through that cycle for like 3 or 4 years, really. Even when I moved back to Minnesota, like I still didn't figure it out until I started like getting into the gym and switching up like my friend group and the people that I hung around. And also on top of that, starting to be honest with the people that are close to me in my life and like kind of what's going on with me. Because I would hide things or wouldn't even wouldn't even be like hiding. I just wouldn't say what was going on. I just was like, I'll figure it out. Right. And at some point, there comes a time where you have to be honest with yourself and realize you don't have to do it on your own. And sometimes you can't.
Yeah. So you move back 3 years later, and you were like, at that point, did it take you a minute to like decide about the show? Like you had obviously seen her go through the process of like wanting to compete and like getting in shape and stuff, but is it just like, hey, I need to find something to do? Like, I feel like Sonia maybe kind of had suggested it, but you would come work out with her every once in a while. Like I think you ended up just coming to do a workout sometimes.
Yeah. So that girl that I met in Rhode Island actually brought out with me. And there's a whole thing that went on with that. And then I had a couple friends pass away from drug overdoses. And that was kind of like I didn't go to rehab. I didn't do any type of like therapy as far as like weaning off drugs. Like that was like.
How did you get back in the gym though?
I think it was seeing what you had done for your show. And I just was, again, fed up with something had to change. And I've always been like in sports, I always worked out, like that was never an issue for me. So, and I always felt good when I did it. So I was like, okay, like, why not? Like, let's just see if it works out. If it doesn't, then we'll find something else. And luckily it worked out way better than I anticipated.
So you do, I'm trying to remember the time that you started and then the time that you ended up doing the show, but I think we at least trained for a good like 6 months prior. It had to have been like.
His show was in November, the first weekend of November.
Yeah, so I don't remember. I should just go back and look at your files, like to be like, oh yeah, when did I write you your first program?
Yeah.
But yeah, the before and after that I have for you is like, when was that before picture that I posted with you in the dreads?
That was.
Well, I have it here. Let's just post it. So here's, yeah.
So that was me, like,
Jeez.
fresh into Mankato. Like, I had probably just moved to Mankato. I don't even think I had a job yet in that picture. I think
this was after you came back or before?
This is that. Yeah, this is in my Mankato apartment, the one on the left. So
you weighed 145.
Yeah.
That's my show weight.
Yeah.
You're 6'4" or 6'3"?
6'3".
Yeah, 6'3", 145. You came back with, yeah.
Wow.
And then you started training with me, and I'm trying to remember how many days a week that we had you in the gym. It might have just been once a week, and then I think it was once a week for a while, not the whole time, but because I think I wrote you. I was writing all your programs, but then I think it was closer to the end that Sonia was like, "Yeah, I want you in the gym a little bit more with her," and so then you were also coming to see me, and then like if I trained her, like you would come. But like we had some sessions just like you and I one-on-one too.
I think we trained once a week together, but I had your program that I would do like four times a week.
I found this random photo the other day of you.
That's leg day. That's leg day, everybody.
From one of our training sessions. Hey, yeah, we were like doing the leg press, and then there you are, like between sets. I found some of you, like actually it was before the show, and I didn't put them all on here because they wouldn't all fit, but it was like you like pushing the sled without a shirt on. Like you and I must have had like a photo shoot or something, like one of the end sessions been like, oh yeah, you look good, take your shirt off, let's take photos of you like working out.
Well, we did it on the turf and it was nice out, so they had the
the garage was open and we had like all the things on there or whatever. But yeah, you started at 145. I think you got up to like 210 though. Like
207, I think is where I like stopped.
Yeah, it was close to 210, and you just were eating a ton of food. Like I just kept like adding
5,900 calories. I think is like that. It was something crazy. I know it was like at least 5,000 calories.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then I was like the cheat meals, all the things.
Best Domino's pan pizza. That was my go-to. I eat the whole thing, no problem.
But so you trained with me maybe like one day a week, and then you went and you were doing like 5 days a week of lifts, and then you didn't really do really much cardio until kind of the end, and I had you doing like a little bit, but it didn't. Obviously, like when you're a very lean person, naturally, like you don't have to do as much. For you, it's more about like getting in enough food, like training correctly, kind of like just being disciplined.
Yes.
And it's like you have like the structure, like you have this like tiny little waist, and then your shoulders and your back just like kind of blew up.
Yeah.
But then you just did one show. Obviously, you took third place, and obviously it's an open. I'm trying to remember like how big your classes were, but I'm like, yeah. I mean, what a transformation! Like, and it wasn't. I don't know that I should look at my Dropbox here and see. Oh, my old folders are offloaded, and just see like the time frame of it, but. It wasn't like it didn't take you that long to just like fill out. Your body was just like starving for food and like
for sure.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I took from the show, just working out in general, is like with all the shit that I had going on, like structure and discipline is what I needed. I've always been that kind of person. I need a schedule. Am I good at always setting that for myself? Probably not. I could get better, but like this was super helpful in like showing myself what I was capable of, and then everything just kind of transpired from there. It was I wouldn't say easy, because if I try to do it now, like I have been eating like shit lately, but it was one of those things like, wow, I really if you set your mind to it, it's so cliche, but really, if you set your mind to something, you're surprise yourself what you're capable of.
Yeah. Well, because so you did that show because you came back, you were like starving for like discipline and something to just like keep you focused and be in a certain place. So like you were completely not doing any Xanax anymore. You were off a lot of the stuff that you had been doing.
Yeah.
And then you just turned to like food and gym and were like super structured. And there was a point where we had like, you were maybe going to do another show like a couple years later. And then like your focus just wasn't there. There was a lot of going on. And so, you know, we ended up just like pulling the plug on it.
Yeah.
But you were kind of in a balanced place. But I do remember like a couple years ago when we did your labs, because you were like getting tingling and stuff in your feet or something. What was it? What was going on with that?
I don't remember what that was, but I had just had a child, and for whatever reason, somebody dropped a.
You didn't birth the child. Alex did.
Yes, I didn't do that. I did nothing at all.
I inseminated her, and she had the child, but I did not have the child.
Exactly.
But you had a very cute kid. I wish I had a picture of Emerson. I should have found one. We have our screenshots from our FaceTime the other night, and we're not putting those up.
Do you want me to show them?
I don't have it loaded. Nope. Sorry. Whoops. So yeah, because that's the thing for guys though. Like if they have kids, like it can up their prolactin levels, and it can actually change hormones of men. Once they have children, they're around children all the time. It can actually, it can change their hormonal status, their digestion, their emotions, their mood. There's a lot of things that for men that experience it. And so I remember when Sonia had been like, Dante's having all these weird symptoms. Like,
well, he was going to doctors nonstop, specialists and doctors, and they couldn't figure out anything. And he said, "We're done. We're done messing around. Go to Casie." And then he texts you. You got him in for his labs. Figured out what he was. I think vitamin D is when I learned specifically Black men and women are lower in vitamin D in the Midwest.
Yes.
It was vitamin D, but it was also a B. Like he had some B12 deficiencies, and when you had like some tingling in your feet and some different like random symptoms, and I was like, I think it's B12. Your homocysteine was off, and it was like B12 and something else, and then I think I put you on like a B12 supplement, and then like a few other things, and it was like within like I don't think it took that long.
Like a week or like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting because your testosterone had dropped. Like it was not bad, but it was lower.
Right.
Than it whatever. I'm like you could kind of see it in the labs how your hormones looked. And like it's typical for a lot of guys. So like a lot of men start experiencing like different symptoms and stuff too once they have kids, and they don't realize like how the being around babies and being just nurturing emotionally starts to affect like the hormone and digestive status of their body and like some of the stuff that they're experiencing. Because I feel like that was like a rough time for you. I feel like you were like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Well, I was trying to work, and like somebody dropped a broom, and I couldn't even walk over it. I fell, and I was like, what the fuck? Like I can't even function. So I'm like trying to get to tables. I couldn't hold like a tray with glasses on it. Like it was like all these things were halting my day-to-day life, and I was just like, this isn't normal. And also nobody tells men that when you have a child that these things can happen.
Right.
Which is, I get, like there's more for women with like postpartum depression and all the things that come with that. So I understand it, but it would be nice for people to at least know like these things can happen. This can happen. Like,
inform them.
Yeah, like if you're, like you said, being nurturing when it's not usually like a male thing to do.
Like, what are all these feelings I'm having?
Yeah. Why am I bleeding?
Did you say bleeding? Why am I bleeding?
Yeah, like a period. Or turn it into
Mancy's is a real thing, okay? Having your Mancy's and having a man cycle is, I mean, when you're around a kid and women and whatever, it can happen.
Well, growing up, I'd ask him if he had his period, if he got crabby.
It still pisses me off.
Okay, well, let's get into some like lighthearted things because I'm trying to remember like some of the last vacations we went on. Like we went to, I think it was Cabo. It was like the last thing we did.
Cabo.
Rowdy.
Yeah. So there's a few stories. One of the stories, which I wish I should have actually uploaded the picture, but it was when you and Brian were trying to buy weed off of somebody on that family on the street. The woman, we were on the way to Squid Row, which is, thing to do in Cabo.
Oh yeah.
We were on the way to Squid Row, and you and Brian are like, we want some weed. So we were on the way, and you guys were like out for it, and then some family stopped us, and I don't remember who initiated what, but it was like a mom, her daughter. The mom had like an iguana on her arm, and then there was like children, and then it was like the husband, and he was like trying to sell us everything. It was like, hey, I have gum, I have weed, we have an iguana, we have like 15 things that you might want to buy. What do you need? And you're like, we just want some weed. And so like I was like, well, who knows what's in that weed, but like you guys are getting it, so I can't wait to see what happens. And then the lady put the iguana on Sonia's arm.
Shoulder.
And Sonia's like, oh, cool. So I'm like over here taking pictures, and then she's like, oh, $5. That'll be $5. And I'm like, you put that fucking iguana on her arm. Like, she's not paying you money. And I'm just like over here, like documenting the whole thing. Like, we're drunk and like hanging out on the street. And you guys are like, we're just happy we have weed. And then we're like, okay, bye. So we just like laughed.
Yeah, that was some cheap shit too. I think we spent $20 on it.
But it didn't. Well, we had a great time at Squid Row. That was a fun time. But it didn't stop you and Tyler from like also almost being arrested in Mexico either.
Yeah. You want us to get into that?
Yeah, tell us the story about how you're almost arrested in Mexico.
So we get done with you guys. You guys are all tired and old, so you guys decide to go back to the hotel.
We're like, there's nothing else that's gonna like. You guys are married. I'm not trying to hang out with anyone in Mexico.
I think the bar closed too. To be fair to you guys, I don't think there was really anything else going on. But
I missed the wedding because I was so dehydrated the one day that I thought I was gonna have like a heart attack. I just stayed in my room and thought I was gonna die. Like I really did. After the first night of like, because it's so dry down there. It's like Arizona.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was wrong with me. I couldn't handle it. So I just I don't remember what night it was. It was the first night though. So whatever. That was actually probably the night that caused me to have the anxiety I had the following day. So anyways.
So she had the cocaine.
Someone slipped cocaine in me.
Mota.
Never done. I've never ever once in my life done cocaine, to be clear. But
you're not missing.
I felt like I would have probably felt better if I would have had cocaine in that moment, just feeling like I was going to die.
Maybe, but we're close to.
So we leave home from Squid Row. You guys decide we're going to go out and see like what's going on.
Just your head, right?
Yeah, it's just me and Tyler. I think we stopped at the ATM to pull cash and whatnot, and then we met these two dudes outside of like a. Oh my god! It was like a garage door, but like once you slide it up, you could get into the door, and then we went upstairs, and it's a club. We're like, yeah.
Whoa, that's so cool.
Yeah.
We're in Mexico. Let's do it.
Mexico? That shit is. It was a fun time. But we go up there. We party. I have videos and pictures of the entire night. We had like sparklers in our mouth, and we were just we had a whole bottle and these two dudes, and then it came time to pay. It came time to pay, and we paid.
But the guys came up to you and they said, "We want to share a table. We'll split it."
Yeah, but it wasn't like a table. It's like you had to buy a bottle in order to sit anywhere in this club. So we're like, "Fuck yeah, let's buy a bottle." We didn't have enough to do.
How much was the bottle?
Oh man, like $200, but in pesos, whatever that is.
Okay.
I don't know.
Someone else.
Yeah, they were probably like $250. I think I pulled like $100.
Okay.
So I put $100 in. $100 in the pot. I think.
We're in Cabo. Let's party.
Yeah, I think Tyler maybe put like 50 in, if any. Honestly, I don't remember how like the money situation went. But yeah, it was getting time to leave, and these guys are fighting us. Like, no, you need to pay more. You need to pay more. And I was like, all right, Tyler, let's think about this. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the bathroom. We're going to come out, and we're just going to leave. So we put the money down. It's like, I got to pee quick, do my thing, come out, and we just snuck downstairs and booked it.
Yeah, because the guys left.
Huh?
Because they didn't pay.
No, they were still trying to find us to like get more money because they didn't.
I thought the story was that they ditched you guys and didn't. I thought, wasn't that what you told me? No.
No, other way around.
In my mind, the whole time that I've been thinking, oh, they left you guys and you were
them with the tech.
Oh, you were the assholes, not them. Okay.
But there was 2 cars at one point. They're like, "You need the ride? You need the ride?" We're like, "Fuck that! We're just booking." And I think
like, you're gonna take me straight to the police station. Okay.
Tyler's what? He can't run as fast.
Well, in vaping, and trust me.
So this was I found this picture from our Cabo trip. These are all screenshots if they look stupid to you guys, but
that is exactly what
yeah. Was that right before we went out?
Yeah,
this was before Squid Row. So yeah, because I have pictures of me like standing underneath that like awning thing upstairs at Squid Row, and I was like almost touching the ceiling with my head because it was like so low clearance. And yeah, I mean we had a great time, but I was like, okay,
the same height. You and Dante look like the same height in that photo. Did you have really high?
I had some like little wedges on. They weren't like giant, but yeah. And then do you remember the guy that wasn't there like a big bachelor group there that was like, I don't know, that one guy I'm trying to remember what he was saying.
We were upstairs.
Yeah. It was
kind of. Who's trying to holler at you? Let me talk to you.
I don't think he spoke another language. I think he was a white guy.
Hey, sweetie, let me talk to you.
He was like, hey, what's your favorite baseball team? I don't think it was like any riveting conversation. It was like nothing. And I was like, oh, you guys have been outside on the beach all day. And he was like telling me about his whole day, but like could barely speak. And I was like, yeah, I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yes. In Minneapolis, the thing for a while with the younger gen was like, they would literally not even walk up and introduce themselves. They would just walk up and say, do you have Snapchat? Like you literally just want to send me some dick pics real quick, and you don't want to you don't want to introduce yourself. You don't want to have a conversation. You just want to know my Snapchat. I'm supposed to
show you my hog and get blocked. I'm
supposed to be. I'm supposed to be like so flattered with, do you want to know my Snapchat? And then it's like,
yes.
Yes, let's exchange Snapchat so you can just send me inappropriate pictures for the next 4 days, and then I'll forget who you are, and then you can just keep sending me things that like don't save in my phone, and then we can just be friends forever, you know?
Yeah, I don't understand like the whole like.
It's like the new age Facebook. Like that's how Facebook used to be, where it's just like, hey, you friend everybody, and then now you're friends with somebody that you met in Mexico 15 years ago, and now you're still friends to this day, and you don't even like barely even know who they are. I have college friends that like one of them was my neighbor for like 5 minutes, and I like, oh, you're married now, you have 3 kids, I like all your photos, but like we don't know each other. I'm invested in your life though.
Yeah, that's why I had to restart the Facebook, because I think I had like 3,000 friends, and I knew 4 of them.
You're like, did I meet you while I was hanging out in the dumpster, or was I on Xanax in the dumpster when I met you, or no? Because I don't actually remember.
Sandwich back in 2016.
I don't actually remember who you are.
I do remember.
Extra mail.
Okay, so like like back to the dumpster stuff though. No, actually, no, we're not talking about the dumpster. But you were like, I always knew that I would like figure it out, whatever. I feel like you got that from Sonia, because she's like always lived her life in that way, where she's no matter what, she's just had that like strength and resilience, because where the whole pregnancy and pills and whatever like of this thing was like, a lot of it started because you got pregnant. You were 19 when you got pregnant, Sonia, or how old were you?
Yeah, 19.
Yeah. So you get pregnant, and then your parents are like, no, not cool. I mean, you were like old enough to be pregnant. Like you had already graduated high school. You were like
I
done
was
with.
in college. Yeah, I met his dad in college.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely old enough to take care of my own crap.
So like, why were they so disapproving of you being pregnant? Because they were just like, it's not you're not with somebody. Like this is not good timing, or was it because like what was it?
Because of my use, I was into drugs, alcohol, partying, not responsible enough to take care of a child.
Yeah.
And I didn't know his dad really that well. So yeah. So I had something to prove.
So, but you had been living with your parents.
No.
No,
I didn't live with my parents since the age of 16.
that's right. So it wasn't really about that they weren't like helping you, or it's just more that they just like were just kind of disowning you as a child.
Definitely did not think. They thought adoption was definitely the way to go because there's no way in hell I could support a child.
Which, I mean, maybe if that's what your lifestyle was at the time, like I could see why they maybe thought that. But also like, hey, if I'm going to have a baby and I'm doing this, like also maybe you should try to support me or like.
Tough love all the way with them. Tough love.
That's very true.
Tough love. No. I was at the hospital and my mom worked across the street. So the doctors got a hold of her. She was a nurse practitioner, and they said, "Hey, your daughter just gave birth. Do you want to come see her?" And she said, "No." Yeah. Nope.
My grandma actually on her deathbed, like cried to me about it. Like, I'm so sorry that I was the way that I was, but I love you so much.
Do you feel like because your parents did that, it motivated you to become a person that they didn't think you could be, or do you think that it was like you would have been that person no matter what?
No, I think all the stages in my life I've always been stubborn. I've always been determined.
Yeah.
Even growing up, since I was a baby. No, this is just one more thing that probably formed who I am today. It was one more.
But there's always like a driving force. So it was like you were into drugs and alcohol. You were like a partier. You were dating the wrong guys. You get knocked up with Dante. They're like basically rejecting you. So you have no other option but to do that. A lot of people would still continue whatever and just be like, yeah, I'm not ready for this and whatever. But it was like, was it the fact that you were like having a baby inside of you, or was it like that your parents were like throwing you out? Basically like, hey, we're not supporting you, like you're on your own, and you felt like I have no other option. Like what do you think was like the driving force behind most of it?
Probably fuck you, I can do whatever I want and you're not going to tell me I can't.
Yeah, because they didn't think you could do it, and you were like, let me prove you wrong.
Yeah, watch me.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
so like part of that is like, hey, like maybe you did a good thing by, in a way, like
I believe in a lot of tough love. I turned out a lot of, parenting. So yeah, I think a lot of people are too soft these days.
Well, you Dante had an article written up about him in the paper because you reported him to the police.
Well, I didn't just report him. His ass was arrested and thrown in jail.
You had him. You called the police and had him thrown in jail. And to teach him a lesson.
I sure did. Yeah, I don't believe in becoming friends with my child.
Yeah.
No, I will never befriend children to raise them. I'm actually quite the opposite. Yeah, no, when you're wrong, you're wrong. And you should pay the penalty, pay the price.
I think that's it. Like, and it's funny because I feel like I would do something similar, but it would be like so hard, but you were just so like adamant in the moment because I know who you are. And so to me, I'm like, that's probably like less than 1% of parents that would actually do that level of something to one of their children.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. But this is
unfortunately, yes.
The society we have is with people that can't have conversations. They can't address confrontation and conflict.
Yeah.
they have to text or email. We've got keyboard warrior, all the things. And yeah, if Dante has any sort of conflict with it, be human contact at work, with his girlfriend, me, he's completely comfortable with owning his shit and saying when he's wrong, I'm sorry. Or going up to somebody else and saying, hey, I don't deserve that, knock it off.
Yeah.
Boundaries, we're really good
Well,
about
and we'll get into more, I think, in later things or whatever, but it's like you've been through so many like different crazy scenarios in your life that I feel like most people would never guess about you, because you are such a like just grounded, like hardworking, whatever person. And it's like, because of the stuff that you went through, you become that person, but most people would never like think that you were that. Like, you were a smoker, like the relationships you had, the shit that you went through, like the way that guys were with you, the way that your parents were, the way that like Dante was born, and then you had to be on your own and whatever. And it's like, everyone walks through life just thinking that, like, judging people without like understanding, like, why do you think they've become that person or whatever. Like, people often look at people like you and I and be like, oh, it's just so easy for you. It's just so easy. Oh, you're so blessed. Like, oh, look at your yeah. What'd you say?
People just don't think you've been through anything because of
yeah. And it's like, and there are people who do get really lucky in life, and they have great families and they have great upbringing, and they just get stuff handed to them their whole life and whatever. But it's like, most of the time, it's like the people that you see and idolize, and they have that like energy about them that attracts people, and they're successful in a lot of different ways, is because they've been through enough stuff prior to that to like build that character and to get to the place that they're at. And that's the stuff that people don't get to see. And you know what I mean? Like, and I remember like one of the things still that you do, Sonia, is like, you'll like, people will look at you in your life, and they like, the other week when Sonia first came on the show, Dante's like, oh, it's so nice you had Eminem on your show. And I was like, oh, you little asshole. Like, he's like, Eminem for Jailbreak. But we all laugh about that stuff. But no, like, it's, she's like the most, like, she would show up to, what'd you say?
Marshall, knees weak, bombing on the sweater already. Mom spaghetti. He's nervous.
Okay. So like two weeks ago, she gets her lashes back on, and I was like, even before that, I was like, no, you remind me of like a ruby rose, because of like, you're so beautiful, and like, even with your short hair, whatever. And then she was like, yeah, like, I just missed my lashes, whatever. Which I'm like, I get, because I like I've had my lashes forever. But I called you for a Verizon something, like with my Wi-Fi thing or whatever, and you're like, oh, it's so fun that you had Eminem on your show the other day, and I was like, you are such a little dickhead. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, I was gonna say like Ruby Rose, but like, okay, you went there. That was but like
the relationship we have though, like
yeah. And it's like the cancer thing. Like, you just have to laugh at it and like make lighthearted of it. You're like, really, I think my mom is a beautiful person. I'm like, not making fun of how she looks, but we're just like, we hate cancer, and like, now we're just gonna joke about it.
Laugh at it.
Yeah. But you would always like showing up to your sessions in like Walmart shorts that were like ripped and also had like paint all over them. And then like, you were just like you would drive to St. Louis Park going like 85 miles an hour in like a 40, and like, you were just like to your sessions doing your stuff. And then people would be like, oh, you're traveling, you're doing these things, you're paying Casie for training and coaching, and like, what is it that you do? And you just be like, I clean toilets. People would just like look at you, because like, you were like overly humble sometimes, where I'm like, you need to stop like downplaying like how good you are at like the things that you do and like all the things that you have going. Because I'm like, you're actually, it's not that like you need to pretend like you're a better person, but also you're like missing out on networking opportunities, because you're not actually like talking to people about like the extent of the things that you do, you know. Like, you could be like, hey, I own like a commercial cleaning company, and I do all these things, and I also like clean Mankato's like entire campus every year, and I have a team of like 50 people that come in here and do this, and I own Airbnbs and whatever. I'm like, you know, like when people ask you about what you do, like there is an opportunity there to like talk about yourself. You don't have to just tell people that you scrub fucking toilets and like clean dog shit off.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yesterday I went to do a hoarder's house and clean brains off the floor, and then I went and like took some dog shit off the wall.
Cat piss, it's my expertise.
And then like people don't trust you because they're like, clearly that's not what you do, and I think you're lying to me right now. So like, also I don't even know what to say.
That's kind of funny the way you put it. I guess I didn't even think anything of it either.
Yeah, I was like, Sonia, you should stop like downplaying yourself so much. I'm like, I get why you're like humble, and it's kind of fun to be like, oh, I just clean toilets. I'm like, it is funny because like whatever, but I'm like, okay, at some point, like maybe you should talk to people more about what you do. But like, yeah, I've been just like, people judge you. And then again, like we talked about last week, you and I would like be in Norway, we'd be in Portugal, and people like, oh, must be nice. We're like, oh yeah, we have millionaires and billionaires paying for our trips. Like we don't pay for any of our things. We don't have to work. We just, you know,
things just appear.
Gallivant around the world on our yacht, and we, you know, have a great time.
That's how it is.
That is a funny dynamic, knowing you two, to hear you like, yeah, and somebody else is like, okay.
Yeah, like, no one sees the behind the scenes.
No, they wouldn't even get it. So if they see you, but you telling me that story, I just giggle because I know that you guys both bust your ass off all the time for the things that you have.
Well, hence how he turned out to be such a worker. How can you be homeless and show up for work on time with raving? His manager to this day, if I were to go see him in Rhode Island, he'd say, where's Dante? He's got a job any day of the week.
I would go to the Burger King next door and like wash my hair or like clean myself off and things like that. Like I just always found a way, again, and I give her a lot of kudos because, yeah, just stubborn. Like I'm not going to let you define who I am or how to do something. Like, fuck that.
Oh.
Well, and that's the resilience you've got to have when you're like back up against the wall. It's like I have no other option. And I went through that with some of my health stuff where I was like, I can either keep getting worse and I can keep feeling worse and whatever, or I can keep trying. And I'm like, nothing I'm doing is working. Nothing has turned around yet. But I'm like, my only other option is to feel worse and to keep like feeling like shit, or to keep like getting worse. So it's like that's like the mental decision, because a lot of, you know, and a lot of people don't turn that corner and make that decision for themselves.
A lot of people want to feel sorry for themselves. I'm just not one of those people. I put myself in that position. So this is on me to get here, then it's on me to get out. This is nobody's responsibility other than my own. So, and I get very irritated with like people that I talk to or people that I've worked with in the past that are just very like, oh, like, oh, I can't. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
And go do something about it. Like, we are so fortunate to live in America for the sense that we don't have a lot of like the struggles that like third world countries have. Like you have so many opportunities. You just might have to do a little work to get there. And not even just a little. You have to work your ass off to get to like where you or my mom is.
Do you guys want to know? Do you want to know about trailer park problems?
Yeah, I was just gonna like cut you guys off because I'm like we both have interesting weeks, but like we do have to talk about trailer park tea because
I want to hear it. That's why I came here. That's actually why I'm here.
Okay.
Hitches, bitches, and snitches. We're all here for the trailer park tea. And actually, just so you guys know, whoever's going to watch later, the ladies at the trailer park are also invested in this podcast. So I just want to give them a shout out because they actually, they do love that they're like being talked about, and they're good with like having some alias names as we like start to bring some things up. And you're not going to be at the trailer park forever. You're like in Minnesota right now, like watching the bullshit snow come down from, you know, like I was literally at the pool yesterday at 85 degrees, and you're now in the snow with, you know, snow today. But we'll like once you move back to Minnesota for like your little like summer stint from your snowbird, whatever, and then we'll move into like hoarder situations and like cleaning stories and stuff, which
squatters are fun.
Yeah. So let's hear some trailer park.
I tried to get the pool. It's been so nice in Arizona. And so I get done whatever I need to get done by noon. So I can be at the pool for a few hours in the afternoon. And normally there's a group of us. And I don't know where the group was, but there was this one gal, and she's new to the trailer park. And she proceeded to tell me that this guy asked her out to go have drinks. And I said, that's nice, you know. And
wait, so they're married or they're just like dating? Like, where did she meet him?
I don't know where they met. I think he just rode his bike by her house and asked her out on a date.
Does he also live in the trailer park?
Everyone lives in the trailer park. Everyone. And so I thought,
But you can't get your bike into the trailer park unless you live there, right? Like, you're not allowed to just go like gallivanting around on your bicycle in the trailer park, are you?
no, you cannot. This is a
So he must live at the trailer court.
I mean, we just won't give said person a name. But
Okay.
yes, he does.
Okay.
Went as the chief, and so she said that she's looking forward to going and having some male companionship and having a drink. I said, that's nice. And then she said, I've been single, you know, for 6 months, so it's time I start getting out there with some men, a man. Okay, and she started telling me about they're gonna go here, they're gonna go there, get the drink on. I said, I gotta tell you, and maybe I shouldn't even freaking tell you. But this man's reputation is he sleeps with a lot of women with no condom.
So was she a newbie around and she just didn't know, like?
And that didn't strike.
He went right after her. He knew.
But that didn't strike her as funny. What her question was? Well, are there other single women in the court?
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, I said, do you think that husbands don't die? There's single ladies around here all the time.
I just picture a senior after a freshman, like, hey, want to get some
right. Well, it's no different than like the dating scene when you're younger, where he's like, oh, she's new, she doesn't know enough about me yet to like taint my image.
Yeah, she's flattered and intrigued, thinking she's the only single chick in the court. There's 400 of these.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna go to Denny's, then we're gonna go to the local pub, and then we're gonna go here. And all the ladies are like, all the other ladies are like, he did the same thing with me. He does that with every girl. He's also gonna take you back and ask to rub your bunions, and then he's gonna bring you into the back rollaway bed.
Rollaway bed.
Yeah, when you see the cot, you know it's real.
Just wait till he puts this old record on, and that's when you know he's about to not put a condom on and put it in you.
Yep. Dating is not for the young folk anymore. You will hit the trailer park.
Marvin Gaye gets anybody to take their pants off, apparently.
This guy is not Marvin Gaye.
The players play at it. The players play at any age, you know.
If he's playing Marvin, if you get Marvin Gaye in the court, he's getting this freak on.
Okay.
They should have like one. They should, you know, like when like an earthquake happens or whatever, and it's just like, you know, that like loud speaker sound. They should have like that at the trailer court, but it should be like songs, you know, like someone can have like control of the playlist for the day for like the trailer court, and it can just be like, oh yeah, Jerry's got control of the playlist today. It's like it's Marvin Gaye, and he's like trying to get it on over there at his house because he saw the fresh meat and he's over there.
Oh man.
Yep.
What else is going on in that trailer park?
Well, a lot of weed, no condoms, and a lot of pool time.
So this is Mankato all over again.
It's literally like college life, but like 80 years later.
When retired people have that permagram, there's a reason.
That makes sense. That's all happening.
Yeah, they're all drunk and high.
Yeah.
No place they have got to be.
I didn't upload your dragon craft that you did this week at the trailer park, but you did I was cute. I liked it. I was just being funny because it's funny to talk about like retirement, like
not uploaded.
Well, no, because I had like so many other things and I couldn't get them
I
all
spent a
on here.
whole day and crafts, and she did
We'll show the retirement craft next.
a whole day.
We'll show the retirement craft next week. You play bingo every week. You're doing crafts.
I couldn't get to the pool till 4 o'clock.
I'll make a slideshow of all. Do more craft. If you do more crafts, I'll make a slideshow for you of all of your retirement crafts, and we'll do like a presentation. I'll put a song on it, and I'll maybe like I'll do like a whole thing. Dante can rap. Dante can make a rap for it. No, if nobody knows, Dante.
Hiking, looking for wild horses, and found nothing. I mean, I'm busy.
She called me.
I'm busy.
Yep. I called her, and she told me that that's what she was doing. Her and Brian were looking for wild horses. I was like, what?
Yeah, she was following the feces to try to find horses, but they were all dried up, and they just never found them. But she's done it like 3 different times.
You guys would be really bad at like, what was it? No, but
like this lady said follow the drop. This lady took us out here and said follow the droppings, but all we've seen is like 80-year-old droppings of wild horses that actually are probably just rocks, and they're not even actually horse feces. And we just keep coming out here every day to see if we can find some horses, and there's like none. So I'm like, I actually don't even know that I'm in the right area anymore.
I want to find the horse because they'll probably tame it and bring it back. I just
want to be in Arizona and find the wild horses and meditate and smoke weed on a rock in the Sedona.
They'll put that thing right next to the side by side, so they'll have a side by side and a horse for Emerson to ride on Easter time. Like, don't give him any ideas.
He's gonna what?
Because Alex and Emerson are going over there.
That little boop.
I'm on a cool chair. They're going there for Easter, but
oh, that's right. Yeah,
don't let Brian get a fucking wild horse, because then I'll see my son on it.
That would be a little alarming to see Emerson on a wild horse, but okay, so we gotta wrap the show up. But I think we're gonna have Dante on again because that was fun, and I feel like today was like kind of a serious conversation, which it was like kind of like the first one that Sonia was on. It was like a little more serious, and then the next time it was like, oh, okay, this is more like normal.
Just want to get them like up to date with like where we are. So now
they gotta know your background and some of the stuff, because again, it makes more sense with that. But appreciate you coming on, and thanks for sharing all of your. This is the trauma circle. Thanks for sharing your trauma in the circle today. I
love doing this stuff. I get a lot of responses from certain people, and they love to hear the stories. So again, like the assumptions, like you just don't know what people have been through until you hear their background, and you're like, oh, cool, like he's just a better guy. And you're like, well, actually, I was homeless, and I had to make a decision, and I also like wasn't going to die of starvation, and I decided to eat more food and work out.
Of Slim Shady's son. It wouldn't be
and it's like and like you're you're like 5'7", and then Dante's like 6'3", and then people are like, oh, Dante's son's going to be on, and then it's like, here's this 6'3", good looking black guy, and you're like, this is not your son, and you're like, yes, it is.
Yeah. I was a lot darker back in the day.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You were a lot what? Darker? Yeah.
She got that Michael Jackson disease.
All right. Anyways, I know people want to watch us talk for way longer, but
it's okay. I'll burn you guys another time. You just let me know.
Yeah, we'll have you on again for sure.
Good.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight on Casie Unhinged. Dante, Sonia, have fun in the tundra of Minnesota for the next couple days, I guess, until you get back here again, and then,
Couple days, I'll be back.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing. Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.